and Marcus about this constant criticism about the vice president not being able about the vice president being in office for these last he's already upset about it. The vice president being in office for all these years and not being able to make the change was the allegation from J.D. Vance. You said to me, I've been to high school civics class. Why did you say that?
Because if anybody took high school civics class, they'd know what the vice president can do and what the vice president can do. I want to make a quick point. Neither candidate on that stage talked about what executive action they're going to take on day one to do what they want, nor were they asked because they know that they can't. That's not how the vice presidency works. You don't get to do what you want. You do what the president delegates you to do. So that
one day Marcus is going to be all of our teachers in civics class, guys. I want.
This is Black News.
Good afternoon, America. How the hell are you? It's your man, the host with the, I don't know if I'm with the most this morning. Y'all have to push me along. I'm a little bit sleepy. But thank you so much for joining me for the Black News here on M3. It is your man, Gregory Thompson, Mr. Drayton. You know, I named myself that because I want to give myself compliments. Really self-serving. Alice's baby boy. As I do each and every Saturday, I drag along the homies and I watch all the news, so you don't have to. My partner in crime, the founder of M3, my buddy to the end, my trigger master, if you will. This man knows how to trigger me. That's what you get when you have a friend that's been a friend for years. They know how to trigger you. My man, Malcolm, the Philosopher King, Travers. You can find him on this very network, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will talk about things that happen on the Love Savage cast. You know, I hate that.
I know.
So I think he has all these. Malcolm has enough topics in his head. He just wants me to watch Dan Savage.
Mm.
I don't. But welcome to the program, sir. How the hell are you?
Good, doing well. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Dan Savage do have some interesting topics, though. I will say, like some of the scenarios that they talk about is like, wow. Really?
Maybe just the programming. Maybe you should play more of the other side of it. Maybe you should split it because I want to hear what they say because I think that's where I get lost in translation. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Next Wednesday, this Wednesday, come up, tune in. He might honor my request. And you can also catch him with me on Mondays at 12 noon where we have a luncheon chat. And we talk about everything that happened over the weekend because the news is, you'll see later in a few minutes. The news is moving incredibly fast, and all things are everywhere. Well, speaking of all things are everywhere, down in Texas, you know, where all things move not at a glacial pace, but very fast. You have some interesting things going on down there. My man, J. Martin Fitzhugh, the internet's home. Yeah. Hey. How you doing, friend? Friend, you got hair today.
A little bit, you know. People know I'm actually as old as I am, so.
Oh my God! I'm not going to tell your age, but we're just going to say not old. Okay.
Well, I think I'm the oldest one here, so yeah.
Oh no, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
No. Catch us on picture.
Birthday's next weekend, so you know.
Oh, that's the only reason. Oh shit. You know, black people in their technicalities. Jesus Christ. I see you over there looking like Cat Daddy down there in Texas. And I want to say, every time I see you, I want to say thank you for your service, man. Because you do the things for this nation that Donald Trump didn't want to do. You didn't run away with bomb spurs. We appreciate you.
Honor to serve, sir.
It is my honor to have you here, sir. And later on in the show, I'm going to ask you what's going on with the all red race. It's looking good down there, no?
Slowly.
Okay, that's fair. I got myself all excited. I didn't ask you prior to. I wanted my actual reaction to be my actual reaction, but catch him. He's back. Catch him on social media. J. Martin Fitzhugh. Funny shit. He's very engaging. The world's most talented writer, and he writes some erotica. And we know y'all horny. You want to jack off all the time, and here this is your source. Get your lube. Check him out. All right, Cat Daddy. Now to down there in Tijuana with a cat 6 leagues below the sea in a brand new bunker. I see you with your new closet doors. I see you back there, light shining. Cat Daddy, Hat Daddy, Bag Daddy, T'Challa's daddy. You can catch him, America's elder brother, the sweetest. Do your little thing. We want to see you do your little, little chipmunk. Listen, catch him on Tuesday nights here on this very network, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, he will entertain your drawers off. And some of these comments I'm getting over here, the drawers are already off. Yeah, he got a haircut. Y'all come check him out. All right.
I'll write about it.
Yeah, he's gonna write about his drawers. Let me catch him before it derails.
Me being in a Penthouse Forum, I never thought I'd be writing a story about this, but this actually happened.
You know what? God. That was some really sidebar. That was some really good writing back in the day. It really was.
Yeah. I think everyone started with, I never thought I'd end up in Penthouse Forum. I thought these things never happened, but guess what happened to me the other day?
Right. I like when I accidentally fucked my neighbor's wife. Yeah. Or,
time to fall, and just fall in a hole.
You just fall into it. That's it.
Right.
You just fall into it. My man, 20 grand at Atlanta's own over there. My man, the Double J Chronicles. What's up, sir? Welcome to the program. You came right in time. I was saving a spot, introduction spot just for you.
No, you wasn't.
I was. So grouchy. Well, let's go ahead and thank you, sir. And catch him you can follow him on Instagram, the Double J Chronicles, if you will. Get some of that red short action going on. See what's going on. He's our local neighborhood reporter. I need to get when all this calms down, I'm gonna go back into the segment of what's going on in his neighborhood. He has the nation's most interesting neighbors. We're gonna see who's sleeping in the car and who stole an apartment. I ain't forget. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into this news this week. A lot of news. Surprise, surprise. Jack Smith is back in the news. He popped up early in the week. Woo, what a picture that is. Woo, that scared me. I wasn't ready for that. Yeah, a windblown Trump. Look at that toothpick just holding on for dear life. Like, listen, this week, Jack Smith unsealed an indictment on what actually happened on Jan 6 and who testified. Look, why? Okay. Now I'm distracted by this. You see where the orange? What is like? Why isn't his whole face tanned? Why does it look like he has like an orange mask on? Okay, I need somebody out there that tans to tell me what's happening in this picture. Okay, so he unsealed the indictment.
He doesn't know how to blend. Okay.
Right. Exactly. See,
I mean, it's known that like he thinks being tan is a good look on him, but it's like it's so much that it's orange. It's not natural.
Not that 30-pound belly just by itself he got. You just tan to get skin cancer. I love it. I support it. Jack Smith unveiled the indictments this week, and most of it we knew, but there were some very revealing things and troubling things. Like, he was in the White House dining room off of the Oval, and one of the aides said, hey, they are running VP Pence to a safe location. This nigga was like, so? And, right, he did one of them hood John. He was like, and, right, so he did the fingers. And then it was, all the things that it's come out, Jack has understood that he knew that he had lost. He, all these things his family had told him he lost. Now, what kind of weirdo are you? Well, I know I'm going to answer this question myself, but let's talk about it. Nothing seeps in through to his people. Do we think just to those people in the middle, or those people, do we think this is going to make a difference? He didn't care of the life and safety of his own PP. We'll talk about this in a few seconds, but Governor Walz had a zinger at the end of the debate. Like, where's Mike Pence? No, are we? It doesn't make a difference that the VP that was on the ticket is no longer on the ticket because you sick the mob on him. What are our thoughts on that?
I mean, you would like to think that it matters, but to his core supporters, they could care less. Like,
Yeah.
But I think that's Trump's problem, is that he's not really expanding his base. He's just concerned about the base that will never leave him. And so, yeah, they're not going to care. They're going to be like, good on Mike Pence. He should have been hung because he should have done what Trump told him to do. But
and just in case those for you don't know, I'm sorry. He wanted him to basically use an alternative slate of electors that they basically just pick some niggas like that said Trump won. I mean, you just want to get down to it. Also, along with this story, Judge Tanya Chutkin was asked by the Supreme Court to separate presidential acts from private acts. Now, people are like, oh, they released this at the time that this is Trump's doing of why this is released now. He pushed it back so far and pushed it back so far. This is the only time that before the end of the year that Jack Smith and his team could put this out. So watch this space. We're gonna. I think other things, and we'll talk about it in consideration. I think other things are going on in the campaign that's going to kind of move the needle, but not this. And I think he will end up in court, and at some point in 2025, at some point, I'm sure. But everybody was so shocked. Like if one of those things, if a tiger bites somebody, the tiger went tiger. It's one thing. Trump was being Trump. Are we surprised that he was like, what the fuck happened, nigga? No, we're not.
It was contingent on him losing the election. If he wins, this case goes away.
Exactly. And so again, he's running for freedom, not for president. So I think that's what it is. In other news, Israel continues bombing. Look at that. Just terrible. In other news, Israel continues bombing Beirut with a barrage of missiles over this week, killing a few, maiming a few others. Bibi is not taking America's advice. It is widely believed that he wants to sink Vice President Harris's campaign in favor of Trump because Trump will let him do whatever the hell he wants. I don't know why. This is my opinion. I don't know why President Biden is afraid to cut off the aid. So what do we think about this real quick? John?
Yeah.
Sorry.
First off, Israel is acting on their own timeline based on the situation that they see.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's in his mind, oh, I want a regime change in the United States, so I'm going to do this. It's not militarily practical to gauge or judge when you're going to take certain actions based on that. It's a situation on the ground. They have their own tempo for the way they want to operate there. Mm-hmm. As far as I've seen the media coverage, and it's like the United States should be able to tell any country in the world how it should act in foreign matters and in war. And advice is advice. You give it, and someone either takes it or don't take it. And as far as the aid that we're giving them, that is already wrapped up, signed, sealed, and delivered, and was before these actions happened. So,
right, but what about future aid? You don't think we should be able to control the narrative with money for future aid?
Yeah, it will be, but it's not going to affect what's happening now.
Well, that is true. That's Malcolm. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this was kind of like my one of my worst case scenarios in my mind, that the war would expand into a regional war. And I'm wondering at what point do you just say it is a regional war? Because it kind of is showing the signs of that now. I mean, I guess you could just still call them limited military actions, but like I think we're kind of at that point.
I think they'll expand it in 31 days.
But yeah, I guess it's however you describe it. I don't know. But even as worst case scenario is, and I mean, there were like leaks saying that Netanyahu wanted Trump to be president or whatever. I agree with the idea that they're not going to alter their military plans, because I think it is based on the sort of back and forth that the countries are having. But certainly, like, it's kind of like a bonus, like that is right before our presidential election. The war is
I don't get.
Go ahead.
I don't get what is the negative to Harris with this. When it was limited to the Palestinians, yeah, there was definitely a lot more uproar. But
I think whenever there's
battlefield has
chaos in
changed
general, like, it doesn't even matter like who it benefits. It's just like when there's uproar, like when there's shit happening negative in the world, you blame the president,
Yeah. Or
but it's like gas to me. As long as the gas prices don't go up exorbitant because of this, I don't think the American elections.
You're right.
Yeah, but most America is not as informed as you either. I think they.
But I mean, there is likelihood of things like that happening. There are ripple effects to an expanding war, and it's not necessarily based on supply or demand. It's sometimes based on just people's like consumption, right? Like people sometimes, if they're afraid of things getting worse, cut back.
Right, and that's the one legitimate fear that maybe the U.S. has, is that Israel will attack the Iranian oil fields.
Yeah,
which will then spike the price.
They already said they're going to probably attack the nuclear facilities, right?
Yeah, and they're not giving any tales on that, whether they're going to do it. Now, I don't know if it was Double J down there we were talking about this, but the strike. The dock strike has ended after 3 days, and Fox News seems to be upset about it. God damn it, we've been fooled again, Double J. So it was announced earlier this week that the union that controls the dock workers came up with a solution to their problem and their woes. They ended up agreeing to a 63% increase over the next 6 years, and to keep a certain amount of employees even over automation. That's going to change after the election, I'm sure. I can't see that them saving that much money on automation, them keeping some motherfuckers around. I think they realized that Biden was not going to step in and be like, oh, stop this. Because he wasn't. He was like, fuck it, I'm just going to let it roll. We'll do what it do. Now, Fitz, you look like you have something to say on this. What is that?
Not too much, other than, to me, I see the subtle hand of President, as he said on SNL, Joe Biden, in that. Because there's certain things he might talk about, certain things he might not. I would not be surprised if there were a couple of private phone calls.
Absolutely. And well, the word on the street is they got Secretary Buttigieg involved, and allegedly VP Harris. I wonder when she gets the time. This bitch couldn't have been Double J. She couldn't have been that bitch ain't been at work in about a month. You gonna tell? She show up, she take a picture in front of the White House. I mean, and not that she's playing hooky. The bitch busy. I'm like, where did she find the time? And now it's starting to get like, where's Waldo? You know what I mean? It's like
she's everywhere.
Like, this bitch. How is? Wait a minute. Now
she is Kamala Harris, sir.
Bruh, one day she went from Michigan, Pennsylvania. Then she did another rally in Arizona. They use
Wonder Woman jet.
Right. I think they're fooling us.
It's true though.
She a black mama. You know how your black mama be doing. She at work. And then she get a call talking about, you know your child is acted up. And they be like, hope
He's already there.
I think
she already
they're
there. Take care of stuff.
Double J, I think they fooling us. I think Maya Rudolph is somewhere. That's doppelganging us. She's in the audience. She is doppelganging us.
So, I don't know how she does it. Oh my god.
Go Kamala Harris. I mean, we're going to talk about this in the state of the race in a few minutes, but with the coalition she's building, the only way she's going to lose is as an act of God. And if she loses, I'll go ahead and accept it. I ain't going to be upset because this bitch tried hard. You know what I mean? She is trying hard. Speaking of trying hard, some updates on the hurricane relief, search and recovery. Over 200 plus dead, I think 220 thus far, over 6 states. Wednesday, Vice President Harris and President Biden visited the devastation in Asheville, North Carolina. A personal note, I personally love Asheville. It's beautiful. Once they reopen it and get everything straight, make sure you go see the Biltmore Mansion. It is a beautiful thing to see at Christmas. Beautiful mountain-esque. And the problem with this is it's a lot of mountains and they can't get a lot of phone cell service there. And that's a part of the problem. And of course, the orange one has injected himself and is spreading misinformation about where the money is going from FEMA. The governors can't reach the White House for these things. All these have been debunked here in Georgia. The governor himself has debunked these lies. The governor has said, and their North Carolina officials are saying, North Carolina Republican officials, let me repeat this, are saying please with the misinformation because it is hindering the relief. Okay, because they're getting reports or saying online that people are stuck someplace and they go to that place and nobody's there. So cut it out, This is when misinformation becomes dangerous, and we are not saving lives. The question I want to ask the panel about this: what do we feel like this response is being botched, or we're doing a good job? Where are we, John? Double J, what you think?
They're doing the way they're supposed to. Let the local people handle it, and if they need help, then step in.
I think so.
Yeah.
Malcolm, where you at with that?
Yeah, no, I just think most of the coverage that I've heard is that they're doing the best they can. I haven't heard that there was anything really that could have been done. And I was going to say that some of that disinformation included people who are, flying drones over the area, which is a problem because some of these places you can only get to by air. And so they're running into drones from private citizens who are trying to prove that, people are not being helped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Also, as an update, President Biden sent a letter to Congress on yesterday saying that FEMA funding will run out by November the 30th. Yeah. Good luck on getting. You don't have to do an executive order for more money, buddy. Because good luck getting some assistance from this goddamn Congress that contains Marjorie Taylor Greene, who says, "Yeah, they're doing it. They, bitch, who is they?" All right. This has been the longest week in the news in forever. Yeah, so we mustn't forget Tuesday there was a VP debate between vice presidential candidates, Governor Walz and the aligned one himself. Johnson or Prince or somebody. That eyeliner was popping. I'm like, you better give a smoky eye.
There were some funny memes about his looks.
Yeah.
And did you see with the
hair? One of us comparing him to like the suspicious hedgehog, like the little turn.
Surprise
squirrel. I love all of that. And so during the debate, it was pretty cordial for the first 80 minutes. He was a lot of people, who are Trump supporters said, they were like, oh, he did good, but he also came across as a used car salesman. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because when you tell known lies and people know that you're telling lies, that's what it comes across as. It comes across
And
as
it's almost like sociopathic. Like you can lie really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
And
yeah.
if you are complaining about being fact checked, friends, you are lying. I just want to put that in the
that was a moment. I thought we weren't fact checking.
Wait, we have to tell the truth? What is this?
What is the other one, of course, was like, we're looking toward the future. And I saw some meme where it's like, pulled over by a police officer or something. It's like, you were speeding in the 50s. It's like, let's look toward the future.
Maybe he doesn't know what the second A means in MAGA. I don't know.
Oh, God.
Right. And it's like, it was so funny. Like, wait a minute, we're telling the truth here?
Right.
I wasn't giving that memo. But it's so in the last 7 minutes of the debate, Tim Walz looks at the senator and says, "Where's Mike Pence?" Classic. Like, why is it Mike Pence? I mean, just shut it all down in one line. We all, and because Malcolm and I were still listening, because we had some technical issues here. So Malcolm and I were still listening. It was fantastic. But when that line, he was like, why isn't Mike Pence on the deal? Do we have to
I wish that had come earlier in the debate, because I feel like that's possibly the most important thing. Is like, the question that they didn't ask is like, if you didn't accept the last election, why would we think you're going to accept this one?
Well, I did some research on your concern, brother. 47 million people watched it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the takeaway, though, that, we're looking toward the future.
The fact that he and
such a non-answer.
73, let me check with my handy fact checking over here. 72% of Americans believe that it is problematic that he will not accept.
He can't.
Right. Not that he will kill and eat babies, but whatever he believes in abortion. I don't know what.
Right, yeah. The botched
Right.
abortion thing is like, ooh, the baby's alive. I can murder it.
And I want to meet this goddamn friend of his. I want to meet this bitch. Bitch, where you at? Like this friend that needed an abortion that I don't know. Like, step forward.
I still didn't get what his point was about that story.
I don't know.
He was trying to soften the anti-abortion.
I know someone who had an abortion is like, yeah, I know someone who's black. It was, I didn't quite get it.
We empathize with people who have abortions. That's why
I think it's kind of like the whole like, she regretted it, and so we want to take that burden off of every woman in America. We don't want you to have to make that decision, so we're just gonna take it away from you. That way, you won't have to worry about regretting having an abortion, because you won't be able to get one.
Let me control your pussy. Let me do it. No.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
I want to get to
it was wrapped up with the abusive boyfriend that I just couldn't get the message that he was actually trying to say there. So was he saying yes?
Yeah.
An abortion, or was he saying no?
As he beat me to pieces. Like, oh wow, I love it.
It's kind of the same thing that like Mark Robinson is doing, with his whole confession that he and his wife had 2 abortions, and it was the worst decision we ever had to make. And so we empathize with women having to make that decision. So that's why we want to take it away from you. We don't ever want you to go through what Frida went through here.
Now wait a minute. Have we determined her name is actually arbitrarily?
It's not, but that's what you called it the other day, and I am rolling with that because she does look like a Frida. She really does.
Double J, don't you know her name, Frida? She do.
I don't know what her name is.
Oh, Frida Robinson. Frida Robinson over there off Backlink Road. Yeah.
I thought it was Felicia, but
but Frida really suits her.
I want her to go see a hairdresser just one time. Girl, take a picture of a perm. Like just one perm, So just absolutely just one perm. Now, in more sunnier news, there was great economic news this week coming from the Labor Department. We have added 254,000 jobs. Yay, employment.
I think I saw the funniest clip on Fox News where they were trying to be happy about it, but they couldn't. Like, yeah, we added a bunch of just. They knew how good it was for Harris, so
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump is going to say those are fake jobs or
And
those
that's
are
what he
jobs
said. Of course, that's what he
migrants. So, he will
Oh,
find a way to make it bad news.
yeah, there's a lot of
right. And
Republicans saying
so
that.
well,
Yeah.
that goes along with state of the race, but he stood up and everybody, I want him to stop playing in my face like I can't read or hear. But inflation is now down to 2.2%, and the GDP we're scheduled to be over 3% growth for the last year. Biden's presidency is on track to add 16 million jobs in 3.5 years. Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the
And
pudding.
it's crazy though how you can take obvious evidence like that, the Republicans can, and spin it. They're working on it. They hadn't spun it yet, but
Oh, they have.
they will find a way. They will find a way to make that
Rubio
bad
has already
news.
said that the Biden
It's all lies,
cooking the
conspiracy.
books. Cooking the
Yeah.
books. They said that can't
They
be
revise the numbers like they do. They've been doing that forever, right?
right.
Like,
But when it goes down for them, it was just
Exactly.
the funny thing is, it could be revised up, which is even worse. So.
God, I
you can
pray.
go in both directions.
They were revised up for July and August as well. That's the number. So the
exactly.
Yeah, they said.
And the question is, how was everyone feeling about it? How were you in your own personal life?
They don't feel it yet.
I'm seeing that actually kind of change. And my thing is always this: it's always gasoline prices.
Mm-hmm.
Gas and eggs.
If it looks like the gasoline prices are going down, even if they're still higher than what they were, people feel better about it.
Yeah, it is starting.
Yeah,
to go
gas
down.
is at a historic low right now. Like it is just really low.
Historic low. And speaking of eggs, I did a hard hitting report. I was going to do a hard hitting report on Monday, and I forgot to do it. The price of eggs are up because there's an outbreak of the bird flu, ladies. Not because there's some type of economic, fuckery going on. Right. So that's what it is. So
but I'm still laughing at that. I'm still laughing at JD Vance saying the eggs are like $4, and there's a sign behind it that says they're $2.99.
And what's also kind of funny is that the price of gas is down because other countries are investing in renewable energy, so they're not using oil as much. So like, there's a higher supply just generally.
And then his dumbass said that if there was another Trump administration, they will not send $55 billion to Michigan to build the new Cadillac plants and stuff.
Yeah.
Why would you say that right before an election? I mean, that's just and now they're all in Michigan. The Harris campaign is all in Michigan, and and the Michiganders are like, why in the hell would he say that, right? And so of course Debbie Stabenow is on her way. Senator Debbie Stabenow is on her way out the door because she's 117, and Plotkin is running for her seat. And of course, they all just took it and ran with it. But speaking of
didn't you say the same thing about John Deere? If they built their plant somewhere else other than Kentucky, and it's like Trump has been threatening them with tariffs.
Right.
It's like
a great now, mind you, at one point the CEO. Let me talk about now. Another segment we gotta do. My favorite one, the state of the race. Let's get on to it. We can talk about all that in the state of the race. Yay! Woo! Yay! Okay, so back to what we were talking about. So ironically, with John Deere, the John Deere CEO was a Trump supporter until he said that. So speaking of people supporting Trump, so he went and lied on Jamie Dimon, the CFO of Chase Bank, and like, yeah, Jamie Dimon supports me. And Jamie Dimon says no, and then he leave and Trump and that you're lying, and then Trump leaves up whatever that thing is called on Truth Social. What is that thing called? A Truth or the tweet? Yeah, no, I mean, what do they call them? Truths?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's okay. So just like on Twitter, what is on X? Is it called an X when you tweet? Is it still a
It's
It's
tweet?
still
called a
called
tweet.
It
We
is
still call
called
it tweets, right?
It's still a tweet. Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of Trump, he returned to Butler, PA yesterday, the scene of the alleged shooting. It's very alleged. I mean,
You say alleged. There were 3 people.
yeah,
died.
2 people died. I guess somebody got shot, but it wasn't him. I can guarantee you that was fake ear motherfucker. So he returned to the scene of the crime in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he repeated several lies, and even Fox broke into the coverage and stopped covering it because they don't want to pay another $700 million for supporting
Further
lies,
misinformation.
further
Yeah.
misinformation. You know, I think because they have learned their lesson. He also spent part of the day in Saginaw, Michigan, where he spoke to a half full arena. It was crazy.
Yeah,
Right.
that was interesting that the Washington Post did a article where they were interviewing people who were leaving his rallies early. I thought that was crazy. There was an entire article quoting people why they left early. And there were actually people who said like they went to the rallies because Harris said go to the rally, and then they changed their mind. They really did. They said, I can't believe he's really this bad. Yeah.
That's funny.
They actually found someone who said that.
It's true.
Yeah.
when
It's
she
like,
said
it's
I
so
like
bad.
you,
Like they said, I went to the rally to see what he was like, and she was right. It's awful. It's really bad.
Mhm.
really?
Yeah.
Mm.
See, like he's so divisive.
Also-
He's so
I've been
negative.
also hearing this. I don't know how true it is or not, but there's this rumor going around that like he pays people to go, and once that Venmo hits their account, then they leave.
They
Like,
go.
well, job, so time to go.
That's how it was.
Oh wow.
The homeless black man was like, "Yeah, they paid me to stand behind him $100."
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I don't know. I don't
But
know.
I'm
what-
just saying that to me made me a little bit happy. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
Yeah.
He's talk a little bit happy.
and you know when people leave, I think he actually called some people out when they were leaving one
Hey,
time.
buddy, where you going? Where you going? Hey.
Right? It's like, wait, come back.
They also just complained about just not being able to get any concessions. Like it was just hot. They had to wait a long time. It was just badly
Right.
run, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because he's spending on, and I, I'm gonna tell you, I have a profile where I am online where I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a white female Trump supporter. I shouldn't tell you much about, but I go into Trump spaces. Like I have an account on Truth Social, and and so you can tell the belief is it's starting to, like, the scales are starting to fall off their eyes, because amongst themselves they're having this conversation. I'm like, why did he say that? That doesn't make. And in the very moment the person in the Trump supporter come in the room telling the truth, and they're like, well, we don't know why he said that. We're just gonna go with it. Okay,
Remember,
yeah, go ahead, Fitz.
I guess right when the Cats and Dogs came out,
Mhm.
when I was on that week, I said what his mistake was. He went specific. They went specific
He kept it
about it.
broad. Yeah.
And once you do that with something that's just demonstratively provable to be false, you open yourself up more scrutiny to everything you say. When you keep it vague, when you keep it, even preposterous, as long as you don't put a specific location to it where it can be verified, you can be okay. But once you do that, everyone will look at everything you're saying. That's the same reason why Vance, his words, if you didn't know anything about him, sounded okay during the debate. But because it's so clear that everyone knows he is a liar and willing to lie, you can't take that good shiny penny and make it believe it's real when it's a slug.
Not the big shiny penny. I love that analogy.
Yeah, I agree. I was concerned that people would buy into it, but like the aftermath has been use a liar.
Yeah.
Use a lot. Well,
and
Use
I think the hustler is starting to show too. It's like every time you turn around, it's like the NFTs, the Trump coin, the Trump pin, and now he's got a $100,000 watch. And it's like, none of his supporters can afford this shit. Like,
But I bet you they're in that trailer park putting all that money together. They all gonna buy one goddamn watch and wear it one time a week.
and then they all just share it. Like, I'm gonna wear it on Monday. Miss Susie gonna wear it on Tuesday. John Boy gonna wear it on Wednesday.
Wow.
Listen, I've shared the good news on the economy. So, and more Trump news. Of course, he's standing up in our face, telling that those numbers were false.
Right.
Marco Rubio posted that the Biden administration is cooking the books. I don't know. So around this time, in 2016, I kind of felt the race slipping from Hillary. I have the opposite feeling from this time. And we'll get into the Harris news in 1 second. And the reason I have the opposite feeling is because, like, if he was going to win, he would have won in 2020. I think he has less support. He has not broadened. And just in his delivery, he is way more darker. I mean, like, he's just going, no, Stinger, my name is not Amber.
That's funny.
I'm not going to tell you. You can go looking for her. You're going to blow my cover.
I think the thing that gives me hope is how
I got the idea from you, by the way. Go ahead.
I think for me, what's giving me hope is how well Harris is running her campaign, and like boots on the ground type thing. Like she's got actual good ground game. She is everywhere. She's like fucking the Flash or something, where she's just like, where is she? She's everywhere. And Trump is just the opposite. Like he's not in the right place. He's doing a little better now, but like he's been slow.
He's begrudgingly going places.
Right. He's going places. It's just, yeah. So like that, on top of the fact, like you said, I agree that I somewhat disagree in the sense that like Trump was coming off one of the worst errors in modern history with the pandemic. So like that had a lot to do with why he lost in 2020. But even that being said, like he hasn't gained any ground since then.
Yeah, it bears out, and it bears repeating, and it bears out that he's lost ground.
Right.
I was, because I actually have to do homework for this, and I decided to do fucking news. I didn't realize I came with a whole day of work, but anyway. I digress. I do it for you. I'm like Trump. All I do is for you.
We love you, man. With the war breaking out in the Middle East, I still have a positive view of Harris's chances.
Yeah, because I think at this point they feel like she can handle it. I feel like
she's coming off presidential every time she speaks. Like it's really good.
So speaking of that, we're gonna talk about her and her everywhereness. She started off in Wisconsin this week with former Senator Liz Cheney. I cannot believe that I'm saying these words. Like Liz Cheney, Darth Vader's daughter.
Yeah.
All right. Is one of the what's up? What you say something? Oh, that was a background noise. Like her conservative bona fides cannot be mistaken. You know what I mean? It's just she is a conservative. Do we have a little bit of the speech to play for the pop?
We had that clip. Yes, we do.
Have never voted for a Democrat, but this year I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. As a conservative, as a patriot, as a mother, as someone who reveres our Constitution, I am honored to join her in this urgent cause.
I know, God, I'm 117, y'all. And I thought in my 117 years of life, Double J, that I would like, she voted for him twice. She didn't just hop off the train and got mad. She voted for his ass in 16. She supported his ass again, hey Teddy, again in 20.
Not only that, she was like high up in Republican leadership too. That's the part. She gave up her job. And the fact that her and her father are supporting this.
there are a number of prominent Republicans that have come out, generals and former White House staff. Now, what was also stood out to me this week in that weird Republican coalition that the vice president is building, she has like 4 former Trump staffers that are going to be campaigning in Pennsylvania this week, and they're going to be talking to white women in the Philadelphia suburbs, Montgomery County, all those places. If you're not familiar with that area, it's like King of Prussia, all of those. Think about that mall, ain't you? So it's like King of Prussia is one of the biggest malls in the country, and I think we've all taken field trips there. At some point in our lives, we got with the homies and packed a lunch and went to King of Prussia Mall and went to the biggest Ralph Lauren outlet there is ever to exist. But this is still a haven of white conservatism, white woman conservatism. The polls are still showing kind of close, but there's definitely a gender divide. I don't trust the polls. I don't know which way not to trust them. But Malcolm always says, and thank you for this peace of mind, brother, that it's a snapshot in time, and it's she still has Big Mo. She still has the big momentum in her favor. So we're gonna pray on that and believe that that's what's gonna happen. But she has had all these people speak up for her, like a couple of generals and things of that nature. Also, this is like he on the fuck around game. So also later next week, she's going to have President Obama go to all of the swing states, not just some of them, all 7 of them motherfuckers. Her and the president, and I think that is the closing thing that she needed. There, and I thought back to 2016. There was some kind of rift between Hillary and the Obamas, wasn't there? Double J, you was gonna say something, baby boy? You was just shifting.
No, sir.
Okay. Well, feel free to jump in, sir. I like your T-shirt. You look real cute today. So, you got to stroke his ego. Yeah, I mean, you got to. You looking cute today. You're big, cute. I like your hat. So, give him the full scale. Your bedspread is cute. You know what I mean? That's I know how to get to the home. Thank you for all that you do, brother. I appreciate you so much. Listen, so it's just one of those things. I don't know, but also it is rumored that Michelle will be joining him. But the weirdest thing is Kellyanne Conway's ex-husband. I can't think of his first name.
Richard, I think.
No, it's not Richard. God damn it, that's the thing. I thought too. It's not Richard.
Really?
No.
Okay.
It's not Richard, but whatever. He's the attorney. So him and Liz Cheney are going to do a couple of campaign events for Harris, and I want to fly to these. I want to go in person. I'm trying to figure out where they are. Is anything in my vicinity? And Governor Walz is also back on the campaign trail. He'll be back here in southern Georgia as soon as his time permits. Do we think? Well, let me ask you this question first. George Conway, thank you there, sir. Appreciate it, George. Yeah, he is talking cash shit too. I love to see him. Cue the music. When I was watching my news booth, today, she had him on a segment, right? She said, "Do you think Trump destroyed your marriage?" I said, "What, Nicole? You ain't go for the juggler, bitch. Did you say that?" So, oh no, he said that. John said he had a power surge.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that, brother. So he said, "I'll answer the question off of air," and she said, "Fair. Can I report what you said?" He said, "No." So I take that as an answer, but I do want to see him and Dick Cheney's daughter on
Hmm.
together.
Liz?
Yeah, Liz. And these things are getting it's getting, do you think, well, I want to ask the question about President Obama first. Do you think him making the closing argument, do you think is that gonna make a difference? Will that move the needle?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's one of these. I think he's still the most popular Democrat.
Mhm.
Wife is, but
Yeah.
next to her.
Well, I mean, I should say as an official, like a former official. Like,
Right.
yeah, obviously, if Michelle was running, she'd just win. But
Yeah. Presidency, which
Right.
is crazy to me.
right.
Still is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Fitz, you, what are your thoughts? Do you think President Obama can move the needle?
Well, I think the biggest thing right now, because people are voting, is to get people out. So if you got someone that's popular, you can talk to them and say, I ain't trying to change your mind. You're our people. Come on out. And make sure that they get in the voting booth, and that's what's important. So
Yeah, agreed.
Elder Bear.
I 100% agree. I mean, he is very popular, great speaker. Like, I mean, man gets paid a lot of money to speak, and he's good at it. So yeah, I think that's the right decision.
A lot of
Yeah.
money. He does make a lot of
I
money.
think he's gotten even better over time. Honestly, like I was thinking about some of his remarks at the DNC. There were a lot more cutting because I think he was a lot more reserved in the past. I mean, he was president, so he tended to be a little more reserved.
And it almost seems like, Malcolm, that because I as past his prologue, I definitely went back to 16, and there was no enthusiasm from them. There was no enthusiasm from the party for Hillary. I don't know why. I think she went on vacation this time, and because I went back and I pulled the article, I was like, hey, she went on vacation for like a week. She did her and go ahead, Fitzy.
well, with the Clintons, having had been around and in the public eye so much, there was fatigue, plain and simple. It was a sense of, well, she did her time, so she's going to get this chance. And it wasn't that she was motivating people to come out for something new, for something exciting. It was, she's been in line. She didn't get a chance to make it in 08. So it was her time. So it was that kind of vibe.
Oh,
I agree with that.
That is a fair assessment. But low key, they gave her the shaft. I wouldn't even fuck with them no more. I'd be like, fuck y'all niggas. Ain't nobody speaking at y'all shit. I'm not gonna be real black with that. Be like, fuck y'all. I'm taking my potato salad bowl and I'm going home.
Yeah, I agree, and because when you think about it, why isn't Hillary out there campaigning?
She is. No, she is.
I rarely see her, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
I don't.
I rarely see her. Like, I heard, she came out and she was asked, like, how does she feel about the possibility of Harris being the first female president when it was supposed to be her. So
she's got a book coming out,
stuff like that. But I just think we're not really seeing a lot of her, and I'm gonna be honest. I think she is a little bitter. It's like,
I think not only that, I don't think people want to see her either.
That's the key. If you're forward looking, you can have someone from the past that was popular, but you don't bring someone from the past that people are like, eh.
Now let me
I
tell
don't
you,
think that she's that popular.
so, while we were the last 2 months, President Obama has raised $76 million for the Harris campaign.
Yeah,
and the Clintons have raised $50
million.
So she's been doing something, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying she's not doing anything. I'm just saying
her statement.
She's not.
Her statement
popular,
is yeah, I agree, Malcolm. I agree.
Yeah.
But her statement was, it was fucked up. I lost, but I'm glad that Kamala has this chance. And I think, I don't know, I'm bitter for her though, because I really think we missed out.
Oh yeah, she's really capable.
The most capable candidate that we could have had in decades in history.
Yeah.
But Kamala,
you got to be likable. It's that simple. You got to be likable, and she's She doesn't come off as likable.
So I want to.
And at least we know when Kamala has hot sauce in her purse, she really means to have hot sauce in her purse.
That's what's so fucked up about likability is that it can play into racism and sexism, right? Like part of the reason she's not likable is because she's a woman, right? Like if she were the same person as a man, she would be a lot more likable, like quote unquote. And I hate the fact that that's true.
Yeah,
it is.
But why are VP Harris's? Why is she plus? Her and Tim are the only other than Obama, the Obamas.
Well, when people are asked to describe Harris, they often just say like happy, joyful. You know,
she really does come off as a more likable, and I don't mean to say it in a negative way, but she does come off a little bit more likable than Hillary Clinton did. And that's not really her fault. I just think, unfortunately, Hillary Clinton has just had a lot to deal with. She's been in the public for so long, and she had a hard time as first lady and stuff like that. Like she was really unlikable as first lady, and so I just think
because they thought she was
carried that baggage with her this whole time.
Yeah,
so,
and she was a target, right? Like when the right wing came up with Fox News and the right wing radio, she was like their first, you're killing your staffers. You're fucking.
Well, listen, I think we hated Tipper Gore just as bad. So it doesn't. I think.
I guess so, but I'm just saying, Tipper Gore didn't run for anything, right?
She did,
right? Exactly.
And I want to say, just in case we forget, that Hillary was the godmother of healthcare. She was one of the architects in the beginning of it. But before I get to, there's another weird story before we get on to the weekly rewind.
Okay.
I was watching my news boo, cue music. I was watching my news boo. Nicole Wallace, that's excellent skeleton. Catch her on MSNBC 4 p.m. Gosh, so smart, so entertaining. She had. Now, this last name is going to trigger something. She had Carolyn Giuliani on her air. Who is she, you might say? Carolyn Giuliani is the daughter of Rudy Giuliani. And no surprise, she supported Biden back in 2020, but she, yet again, is supporting the Democratic candidate in VP Harris. And so the thing that we have here is she said some really revealing things. And she said that her father was an embarrassment. And to see him take this fall from grace, their family, Trump has shattered their family. Yeah. Like her father, he will never, he has no money. He had to go to the healthcare exchange to get healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So he's benefiting from, and this man's in this late 70s.
Get to the part where I care.
Thank you, baby Trump over there. Baby Trump,
I love that. Oh God, I need to.
Tijuana changes you. Tijuana changes you.
Right.
You see how Tijuana changes you? See that?
I am not feeling sorry for this man. The
point I want to make is that she was definitely sincere. She said she wants to have children in the future, and she feels like she has no autonomy of her body if she votes for Trump. Now, do we feel you can take it down? I don't feel like looking at this. Do we feel like all these prominent white women, all these Republican white women are coming out for Harris? Is that permission structure, do we feel like it's going to be enough? Because I'm going to tell you something, white women. If you are in the sound of my voice, I do not trust you. I do not trust what you say. I don't care what those polls say. You are going to follow your white husband. And I don't know. I hope it's slim, and I hope that abortion makes the difference. But I'm going to say this publicly, and I will say it again right before I end this segment. White women, I don't trust you. And you
I
said,
just say it like that's how Harris wins, though.
talk to me.
I mean, it's literally the only demographic that she has in her pocket right now to win the election is black women.
But I mean,
unfortunately, it's not going to be like by a huge amount, but there's about a 10-point gap between white men and white women right now.
yeah,
And so I think it's already happening. The question is, are they going to actually come out and vote? I think they already are opposed to Trump. Being opposed to Trump doesn't mean you're for Harris. You know what I
right,
mean?
exactly.
So that's where that leap has to be made. But they're already against Trump. You know?
Well, but again, like you said, I don't trust them to make it to the polls.
Right,
Chris,
right.
you look like something's coming off your brain. Let's hear it. What is it?
I'm putting in a word for white women.
Dear white women, right?
And this is my word to you about white women, is that it may be them that are leading their husbands to vote for Trump and not the other way around. So I wouldn't put the stigma of they're just following their man. Having lived in Pennsylvania, been in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
those attitudes are deep within the white women as they are in the white men. So I'm not going to say that it's that they're just following.
Duly
Yeah.
noted. Duly
Because
noted.
they could be pro-choice Republicans and still be racist as fuck.
Still be racist as fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Like they want that wall. They don't want to give none of the tax dollars to any kind of health care that might go to black people at all. You know,
Right.
So,
I think the saving grace. This is not 2016.
Mm.
The graphics have changed. I just don't know if they've changed. But I was nervous when Joe put her on the ticket. So by now I was running my head popping pills and shit. I went to bed early because I was like, I'm not fucking with this. And
What they do to you, sir?
the white women or the election? Which one? What you saying? No, and my thing with this is for some reason a cult of personality can get someone to vote against their best interest, which is I still don't understand. But I do understand that because because maybe if Pharrell Williams was like, I'm running for president, he could be the worst candidate. I'd be like, he ain't all that bad. He made happen.
I remember when I hear these like people online saying facts over feelings. It's never been that way. It's always feelings over facts. And so like
that is
true.
true.
People will vote against their interest because it ties them to a certain identity. It's part of the culture that they are entrenched in. And
Malcolm, the other thing I failed to mention was also with me. I think I did mention Magic Johnson was in Michigan with her on her last rally in Flint. She did Flint and Detroit yesterday. God damn.
I know.
Like the Flash.
He's everywhere. Shit.
So, but interestingly enough, he made an appeal directly to black men.
Yeah. I heard about that. Yeah.
Said, hey, look here, black man. I don't care what you heard. And that was a reminder Trump has done nothing for you. And so, and just for anybody in the sound of my voice, if you run up to somebody and they're like, what Trump did is, give me what, and I was talking to Malcolm about this. My thing now, I don't do a hard push. I said, tell me one policy that you agree with Trump, that he affected your life, or that you even agree with.
Yeah.
And would you allow me, if it's true or no, would you allow me to show you the proof? And most of the time they say yes. And they said, well, black men will say, well, he gave us a stimulus check. I said we had once in a century, pandemic. You're not getting that again. They were like, well, why not? I said, are you going to reinfect the world with like herpes simplex 25 or something?
Yeah,
like
they make the
Don't say that, because some of them will be like, if that what gets me a stimulus check, then yes, I will do that.
They ain't out there getting herpes simplex 25, so I'm good.
And plus, point out the fact that the Republican Party, which he was the head of, was supposed to, future stimulus checks, and they then blamed, those checks for the inflation, which is not untrue, but just still, like they were opposed to it. So
Yep,
You know,
and he didn't do it till they put his name on it, dumbass.
Right.
something anecdotal from Texas. Maya's son, and I'd actually forgotten about this till just this minute. He did a little unscientific poll among his classmates. He's only 15, but
I love that guy. I would say he's great.
Well, he had, who are you for, Harris or Trump?
Right.
And I think Trump was up by 2. He didn't have that many. And I said, well, why do you think that? He said, well, they really didn't say, but he said one of his friends said because Trump's been through some stuff, so he knows what it's like as far as legally and stuff like that. And I don't believe that was prompted by, definitely wasn't by my son.
Right.
And I had never told him that. So he got that from what's out there. So people like Magic Johnson or other folks that maybe young people will listen to of voting age, of getting that message out, because it is there. People, especially young men, are thinking, well, the system's after Trump, so he understands what it's like. And so they can assume the system is like school or their parents or whatever else. And so they're identifying themselves with his situation, but without understanding the whys.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like that is part of the reason men are breaking for him in ways, and black men included.
Right.
Well, I pray
even Trump said that. Even Trump said, like, that he feels like, he's reaching the African American vote because, like, I've been through what they've been through. So yeah.
Well, in closing, I pray that it's going to be one of those 2020 or midterm situations where they save and it never comes to fruition, and they just go looking.
It should be noted that men voted much lower rates than women anyway. So.
We wouldn't be where we are now if Hillary won, and it really sucks.
Yeah.
Won the popular vote. Yes, I really want somebody to do something with the electoral college. But that's on. Go ahead. I think is another. One thing Hillary had going against her was that some women didn't respect her because she stayed with Bill after he cheated. Yes, and they studies still sucking their man off. And I'm just like, the double standard is real. Shut up, Mr. Fitzhugh. I saw your face.
I just didn't understand quite what you said, but okay.
Well, no, I mean, like they kept their man, but she can't keep hers. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, gotcha.
They still sucking their man off, and she can't keep hers.
Right,
he was only the
are not always logical.
Right, he was only the leader of the free world. You know what I'm saying? Well, thank you so much, Mr. Carter. Now I love this because I get to revisit laughter and love. All those good things. The weekly rewind. And Malcolm, I have questions when we get to yours. I'm just telling you.
There's so many questions. I don't even know where you're going with this.
So many questions. When Swag brought this up, I was like, I need to have a sit down with Malcolm. No, go ahead and run that beautiful footage. See you later.
This is on Netflix, by the way. It's coming out October 3rd.
So tomorrow.
Yeah, UAP! おい、お前 UFO 見たことねえだろ。綾瀬さんこそ幽霊見たことあるんですか？ないよ。恐縮っす。何あれ、ほんとやめてほしい。
Workout beat.
一もちゃおらせろや。
バナナをください。
助けてください。自分をコントロールできません。お金とく。
なえるぜ。
Okay. Dan the Dan.
your emotions, positive and negative, affect your decision making. This person who's in finance is talking about that, and I'll just play it real quick.
To come up with $400 today to cover a personal emergency, where would you get it? Would you pull it out of an emergency fund? Do you have savings? Would you put it on a credit card? Would you take out a payday loan? Would you borrow it from your sister? Currently reading The Psychology of Money, and my little budgeting nerdy brain is super fascinated by this. It's been such a good read, but I want to share a passage with you. Every financial decision a person makes sense to them in that moment. It checks the boxes that they needed to check. They tell themselves a story about what they are doing and why they are doing it, and that story has been shaped by their own unique experiences. Take, for example, lottery tickets. Americans spend more money on lottery tickets than movies, games, music, sporting events, and books combined. I found that shocking. And you know who buys them? Mostly poor people. The lowest income households in the United States on average spend $412 a year on lottery tickets. That's 4 times the amount of those in higher income groups. 40% of Americans cannot come up with $400 in an emergency, which is to say that those who are buying $400 in lottery tickets are by and large the same people who say that they could not come up with $400 in an emergency. That seems crazy to me, and it probably seems crazy to you, but it really got me to thinking about something in the personal finance space that I think is grossly missing, and that is a level of compassion. Money is such an emotional thing, and I think a lot of the personal finance creators, the personal finance bros out there, treat it like it's just math, like it's just numbers. However, money is not just math. It's not just black and white. It is a highly emotional thing.
Yeah.
Now, see,
I think,
I look at it totally different. Go ahead.
But no, I was going to say one of the things that I would definitely recommend the book, The Psychology of Money.
So I saw this on Twitter. This was a really interesting kind of like scenario, and I wanted to see what people thought about it. So this guy tweeted, said, a DL guy messaged me asking to get bread, no photos, of course. Got him to send some, and after some sleuthing, I identified him as a married Latino Trump supporter with kids. And I just don't think God would give me this info if he didn't want me to act on it. What y'all think?
Do it! Fucking do it! Fucking do it.
Somebody replied saying, no, as much as I dislike this scenario, no one should be outing anyone.
Oh, look at his hairline. Are we listening to him, Danny?
So Dude replied back and said his wife would disagree, considering he could bring home a life-altering disease that permanently damages her life and his kids. But yeah, worry about him, Danny, while she's getting raw dogged at Motel 6.
Oh.
So I presented this to people on TikTok because I wanted to get their honest opinion as to because now I'm just going by me. As a general rule, I feel like outing somebody is a no-no. Like, people have their reasons, and I think coming out is a personal decision. And I'm not going to be the person to out somebody, no matter how much I maybe dislike them or feel like, they deserve to be outed.
Have more interest in me than I show in them, or it kind of makes me feel comfortable until they become a stalker.
Yeah. I was waiting for the butt.
I tried to find where the fine line is between this, so I'm just gonna play this video and we can talk about it. Here.
You know how some people say they enjoy the chase? I think that's really toxic. That's just really scary to me. Chasing implies running. Running implies that person doesn't want to be with you. And I get it. You feel like they should have the communication skills to tell you that. Sure. But this is life. And life isn't perfect. So sometimes instead of communicating, yes, people run. And before someone comments and says, but what about playing hard to get? Isn't that a silly, harmless little game? No, I don't think there's anything silly, little, or harmless about someone blatantly telling you they're not interested and you continuously pursuing them. So if you're someone who likes the chase, I'm not judging you. That's not even what I do here. But I do encourage you to ask yourself what that really means. I just encourage you to ask, is it actually healthy? Do I even get what I want? Or am I pushing people away because I'm not actually listening to them when they tell me no?
Bitch, fuck you.
So I would say, I don't necessarily agree with his logic.
I don't either.
Because when I say that this is a typical thing for me to be pursued, the thing that I get from these guys is that they aren't listening.
So, long story short, let's go ahead. I don't watch anime, so I know what the hell that was. Monday. So, being a CFP professional myself, we were talking about people's approaches, how your money coach will approach you about money, and some of us can be a little harsh, but it's what the client needs. If your client is okay, you try not to be a dick about it. You know what I mean? And you try to be like, okay, well, here's your budget. This is what you do. I mean, sometimes it depends on where you are and your money habits. Was that the color of money you were saying, or?
No, that was the psychology of money.
So for Black people, let me recommend this book called The Color of Money. It gives you the psychology of money. It talks about the Black migration from the South to the North, and the industrial boom of the first couple of decades of the 20th century, and how we got houses and we charged double and triple for those houses, and how in the 80s when the crack epidemic came along, yes, these are connected, and how the kids sold the houses and we lost our economic footing throughout the 90s, and we became
it's still happening, right? Like redlining is still a thing.
Yeah. So, with that, so we talked about that, which I thought that was very interesting. And I did go back and watch some clips of hers. I do enjoy her. Now, Tuesday, the outing of the Trump supporter. I've been waiting all week to talk to Fitzy about this. I think he was in the audience that night that it was happening. What would you do if somebody says, breed it, daddy, bust it wide, and you do your internet sleuthing, you find out that they're a married Trump supporter with kids?
It doesn't matter whether they're a Trump supporter or not. Outing someone, no, I'm not going to. It's that person's relationship. I don't have to have any more dealings with that person that's wanting to do that, but living their lives, and I'm not stepping a toe into it.
Okay. All right. I can see that. And I got you guys' opinions on that the other day.
It's just interesting the mental gymnastics people went through to want to out people who they don't like.
Yeah, I mean,
because we kind of all agree with the idea of not doing it, but like everyone also was like, yeah, fuck that.
Right. With your devil ass, you shouldn't have been.
And again, I question. I mean, he was like, I'm doing it because I'm trying to save her from this horrible disease, but we really know what it was about. I'm sure if this guy was, a Harris supporter and all that kind of stuff, then there would have been something going down.
Well, no, they expect you to do any and everything and get transgender operations when you send the kids to school.
I'm a walls that one. How's that?
Oh God.
So, Malcolm, I think your topic was more of how do you approach this thing if you look at it a certain way, and I think we came down to communicating what you're looking for and how do you get that, because I'm not going to repeat it because I often get in trouble on the air. When I first moved to an area, I do use the apps to find my way around and find a group of friends. And I was told on previous shows that, listen, that's not, you're leading people on. I was like, but if I state the fact that I just want a steak and a potato, and, this is where I am in my process, as long as you state and you be honest with somebody, that's just where you are. And like you give them the option, fuck, I paid for the steak just because you don't get the dick and a steak. Sorry,
Yeah.
That's all.
I think the problem with those apps and with dating in general is because, there is a lot of, dishonesty playing sort of hard to get. That's kind of what they're talking about in there, where people will say that they're just looking for a relationship when they really are looking for dick, you know. And sometimes those barriers or whatever, those boundaries are permeable, you know. They're like, I'm looking for a boyfriend, but if all I can get is dick, I'll take it. You know, like so yeah, honesty is great, but the funny thing is you can be honest and people not believe you.
Okay.
And I think that's where it really comes down to, and that's not your fault. Like I disagree with Derek on that. Like I get the idea that even when upfront, people might not believe you because of where you got that date. You know, they might have the expectation, even if you are clear and honest about it. Like, but you know, anyway. And so for me on that topic was I have a difficulty sometimes wading through the ambiguities of dating, right? Where, you know, like it is, you know, a steak and potato situation. And the truth is that's kind of how I date. I do just live in the moment, right? Like I'm not trying to make a boyfriend out of a, you know, first, second date. I'm just hopefully enjoying the company of the person I'm with. And maybe I'm thinking about the next date, you know, like I think about that. Like if this date goes well, what do we do next? But beyond the next date, that's all I'm thinking about. And yeah, for sometimes the people who are very aggressive are the ones who get my attention, you know. And so then I end up dating all these people who are chasing me even after I say no, I'm not interested. And I'm wondering, like, how can I weed some of these guys out and start dating the guys who are just like steak and potato guys who are just interested in this date, maybe the next, not trying to, you know.
Fitz, I see you trying to catch up down there.
Isn't that hard though? In modern technology, we've got a delete button, a block button, a do not answer button. If you don't want to be bothered, you don't need to be bothered.
I'm not. I'm just saying, you're right. Like it is not that difficult to block people. My block game is good.
It is.
I guess is what I'm saying is the chase is there. We know the chase is there. But if we don't want to be chased, we don't need to be chased. Now, that's different than having someone who's in your town who then starts stalking you, which was kind of his point in that clip as well.
I'm just saying, like, I get a lot of stalkers, and I realize, like, I'm part of the problem because apparently I am attracted to those types of people.
Growth.
Attention is attention. It's good to have. So I get
Yeah.
it.
I mean, some of us like the chase, some of us like the pursuit. You know, I mean, it's.
No, I want to stop getting those pictures of nappy taints. Just do me that.
Nappy taint pics. Oh my god!
Shave your taint, people. Shave your taint. Shave your whole.
Save those. Start your own, you know, OnlyFans channel and just pop up the ones.
There you go.
Once they give them to you, it's yours.
I love you.
Right. Right.
I love you. Let me say this public. I love you, Fred. I like that. Thank you. Always on the entrepreneurial floor. I love it. I love it. Let me take this time to invite you to Patreon, please. www.patreon.com/maleMediaMind, where we will continue some of these. I actually have another topic for y'all to trigger y'all to do.
Nice.
I do, because it happened to me online, so I want to discuss. But Malcolm, I really think, you know, I went back and thought about what we said after we kind of disbanded. You know, I was like, okay, well, it's one of those things that it's kind of, you want it both ways. You want the attention, but you don't want the stalking. So how do you get out of that? Because I think the kind of person that you want to date is prone to stalking.
Basically, yeah. That's what I'm realizing. And,
yes, Fitzhugh, you cannot take that away from me.
No, I mean,
seems to be.
Yeah.
I guess I don't see that there has to be one or the other. You have those that you screen through that, oh, this is dateable. And this is the one that's just going to give me that attention every once in a while. So don't feel like you got to have this or the other until you lock someone down and then you cut everyone else out. So enjoy the fun things, but look at this is who I want to date, and then you go after that.
See, I think for me, it's like we don't get to the dating part because I'm so aloof, right? Because I'm the type of person who doesn't necessarily respond to normal flirting and stuff. The people who get to the next date step are the stalkery types. You see what I'm saying? It's like the regular guys think that I'm not interested. And I don't know how.
Well, he also made the statement that he doesn't recognize. And Swag made the statement too that they don't recognize.
Yeah, they give up.
Right.
They give up. I'm interested, and they don't think I'm interested. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they're too scared or something. I think they're scared of me. That's true.
But Malcolm, you're 7 foot tall and your afro is 4 feet high. Come on.
I don't understand why. Like, I'm not scary. I don't get it.
Ask them out.
Yeah.
You got to put on that
It
AF.
doesn't necessarily be that you're scary. It's just that they may be scared of rejection from you.
Yeah,
So,
something like that.
I get that. You know, I'm a personal online pimp, so I get that a lot. They are.
I need to change it up. I know I got to change something up on my end because I can't control what other people do. And
Correct.
So part of it
It's
is,
like, I'm telling you what I hear.
Yeah.
Well, I land this plane. I tell you what I hear is, he's very sweet, but he seems so unapproachable. He's so smart. And a lot of it is about them and not you. It's like, I don't think somebody told I can't say no names, but somebody told me, I don't think I can intellectually match which with him. I said, well, why don't you let him be the judge of that? I mean, now I can tell you he don't like a dumb motherfucker, but I don't think you're dumb. Right? I feel like
he might
That's the thing.
I'm a little dumb.
Here's the thing. Dumb is okay as long as you're interesting. Like, if you're, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can hold a conversation and you're still stupid, that's fine.
I hate you all.
I just don't like boring. I'm
going to give the last word to Mr. Fitzhugh.
Well, it's not a dating show, and it's more of a question. But how long do you entertain someone before you ask them out?
Yeah,
you got to go quick. Don't hold on these 2-3 month conversations. It's like,
you're right.
Hey, you look nice. Let's go. I'm not saying to bed. I'm saying out to coffee or a movie or a walk. But
get naked or check it. That's all I say.
That's pretty good advice. I appreciate that.
Get naked or check it, America. Now, listen. In closing, we are in the middle of an election season. Please go to www.vote.gov. Find out what you need. In most states, voter registration is coming to a head, to a close. So you might want to check with your locality to find out what I know here in Atlanta, it's the 7th, which is Monday, is the last day to register to vote. And here in Georgia, early voting starts on 10/15 at 7 a.m. So I know a couple of the Greek organizations here are going to doing something called flood the polls. They want everybody to show up on those particular days and flood the polls. So find out what you want to do. Programming note: if you're looking to know more about VP Kamala Harris, she will be on 60 Minutes doing a full interview that Trump refused to do.
Right.
So check her out on that. Even if you are registered to vote and whatever, so over half the states are doing early voting right now. So even if you are registered to vote, please check your registration. Make sure you know what you need, because they are dumping folks off the rolls in several states. Now, lastly, Mr. Fitzhugh, give me an update on Colin Allred, that yummy piece of ass. Colin Allred. In Texas, what's happening in Texas?
It's still very close. He is getting out a little bit more and is being a little bit more public in person. And he's getting money from kind of all over the place. So he's staying there, staying in touch. His reach with Hispanic voters, the West, is going to be his biggest issue.
Okay. All right. So anybody Hispanic other than know, let your people know. Go vote, please. This is a very important election. Thomas Jefferson said, "We have a republic if we can keep it." That's true. He said on the streets of Philadelphia as he came out from signing the Declaration of Independence. So it is. Hey, Sammy, welcome, and goodbye, Sammy. Greg always making potatoes.
I'll see you on Patreon.
See you guys.
Patreon, you're going to tell me what steak and potatoes is, right? So
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's everything you think it is. Let's go ahead and roll those beautiful closing credits. And if nobody told you they love you, we do. Peace.
This is Black News.
$130 on the nose. I was not fucking playing. You know what I'm saying?
Highly impressive, sir.
New one.
Man, I was over here keeping ticker at the time. So I got a little 130 seconds. 130. I was doing it. Let me just tell you, because that's the first. That's one of that is one of my goals, just to stay within the parameter of time. And
Yeah,
that's important for the production of the pacing and the production of the show. That's why I kind of there was a lot of story, and
there was.
Swag. I got every last story, even the ones I put off to the side. I was going. I was doing it.
Yeah.
Recap was it? What was it?
Was that?
I said the recap was at 1 hour, pretty much exact. So I was like, okay, he's booking today. It's like no problem.
Because I can see now. I cannot believe the fucking VP debate was Tuesday. It seems like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I produced a whole show, and I didn't include it. And
Right.
I had to go back. I was like, "Fuck!" Oh.
Matter of fact, I texted him this morning. I said, "I know you want to talk about the VP debate." He said, "Oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?"
I mean, like news kept happening, and news kept happening. It just kept happening.
Yeah.
Happening, and people kept popping up. I guess, and the question. Okay, so I went to. I have 5 people, Fitzhugh, on my white council that I grew up with. They're very conservative Republicans.
You say your white council? Is that what
white council. They are my white coalition that I go to. They are how I figured out that Trump was going to win last time. So I keep them on board. Okay. And they told me he was going to lose in 20. So the official word from the white council is Harris is going to win overwhelmingly. And these are the reasons that they get. And it's 3 white women and 2 white men. And one of them, and I'm his only black friend, so he racist. That's what he says. I mean, I don't consider him a friend, but I need him in the white council. I need to know what's going on. So, and he said, I think just as Americans, we're just tired. I'm tired. We're tired of the lies. I'm tired of defending the indefensible, and so it was almost like he was saying, he's playing in my face. It's like, if he doesn't want to be blamed for these things, why don't he stop doing them? And that is the most sensical. That's the most sense I've heard a Trump supporter make. And and so my buddy, well, I guess I can call him my buddy. He was like, I think I was a fan of his. And I wasn't thinking about the politics, because the other thing through phone banking I got from a few callers, they said it. Trump is entertaining. I'm like, was somebody holding a new? And the thing I said, is it entertaining that a fool will have the code to a nuclear bomb? And they got quiet. I was like, that's not entertainment. Entertainment is not him standing toe to toe with a dictator and giving away America's secrets. Or
Well, I'll tell you,
dictator. Go ahead. Sorry.
I tell you, I agree with you on that. And one of the things a lot of people would say when they thought about that entertainment was that, well, they won't let him, actually destroy the whole world. Like there will be people there who actually keep him in line.
Now they know that that's not the case because
because the people who were there to keep him in line are getting fucking tossed. And they're coming out and telling them like we did everything we could.
And we no longer exist. So
Right.
the only people next are the niggas that be like, "Go do what you go,
Right.
put out the car. You got it."
I think there is this diffuse responsibility thing, right? Where they feel like someone else will handle that. Someone will keep that all together. And like, no, you're a voter. It is your responsibility to vote for someone who's competent, right? So there's that level. I think there's also the idea where people who don't like politics liked Donald Trump.
Right, because he's poking fun at politics itself. But they
Yeah,
don't-
it was like a postmodern critique of politics. It's just like, we're going to show you how bad it can get. And what's funny is now he is politics. Like there are people who are 18 years old now who are voting for the first time who've never seen politics without him. As whenever they were actually aware of it, that is just normal for them. Like they don't know that this isn't the way it's supposed to be.
Right, but for somehow, luckily, Harris has captured that. Like she's, that somehow they still know right from wrong. I think about that too. And
It's
I think
also-
Go ahead.
No, we talked about a couple things during Ray's show, and one was emotions. So it's the way you feel about it, and that's why that entertainer type thing, that vibe gives you those positive feelings. But the other thing I like to talk about is short attention spans, which
Absolutely.
are what they are, but they also help.
I'll be right back.
I think that Harris and even her polls on the border are raising up because there aren't people coming over the border in droves right now.
Right.
So it's not fresh in their minds or anything else. So it doesn't seem as pressing an issue. And the same thing, prices are coming down. So and that's in the
actual
news, the prices
reality
are
is
coming down.
imposing
Right.
itself on the
So
race.
you can forget about the previous things.
Right.
And that's why Trump's messages aren't getting through. But it's also why the messages of, January 6th was so bad because, well, that's so far in the rearview mirror.
Right.
It's not.
But that's why I say instead of talking about January 6th in the rearview mirror, it's like, you're going to lose this election again. And you're also not going to accept it again. And so does that mean we're going to see violence again? And I think the answer is yes. Like you shouldn't even be the nominee, yet alone the president.
Like this is why I think the message about the violence isn't quite as good. Is because when he loses, he's not going to be in a position to either marshal or not marshal the National Guard or to direct, any forces to do anything. So Joe Biden's still going to be there.
That's true.
That's
true.
So
it's a good point.
That part of the argument, pressing it that hard just doesn't make too much sense right now.
Yeah, but I would say like there may not be like crowds going to the Capitol like on January 6th, but there will be just the fact that, and this is something that came up in the indictment that I thought was really good. I didn't get to read the whole thing, but like large portions of it were read on the Washington Post podcast. And one thing I found interesting was he talked about the fact that there were times where he admitted that he lost and that you don't concede. You don't, you fight anyway, that sort of mentality. And that has become somewhat normal now. That's normalized amongst most Republicans now, where conceding an election is seen as weak and wrong, really. Like you don't concede. And so I don't know if there's like this ethics of a good concession speech anymore. You know, that used to be a way of like cementing your legacy, saying like how gracious you could be to your opponent if you lost. That's totally just out the window now. Maybe they'll come back. I don't know, but like, I wonder if anyone even makes an argument as to the fact that you don't give a concession speech almost directly leads to violence. It leads to people, you know, thinking that their vote was stolen, that they, you know, are being led into a new Venezuela, you know, because they told them that, you know.
It's a summation of all the things, because
Yeah.
if there was a politician who did stuff regular, but just said, you know what, I'm not going to concede and I'm not going to go to the inauguration, but doesn't say anything else, well, okay, that's that one person's thing. But when you continue a message, which is why Trump is in the trouble as he's in, is he continued the message for what, a month and a half to January 6th, telling these lies over and over and fomenting the anger. So that's the whole message, but it's
it is crazy. And I'm thinking that was like the first question I'd be asking Trump or Pence, or not Pence, Vance. Okay, either one of them.
Like, sure, you're right. It's like,
but hold on, I gotta show you this. I've been playing around. I'm putting a video in here since we were just doing some stuff. I don't know if you saw this in the VIP room.
Familiar with Ebonics? Just tell me in one sentence.
I've been playing with this app a lot.
Absolutely. Ebonics, or African American Vernacular English, AAVE, is a distinct dialect with its own grammatical, vocabulary, and pronunciation rules, spoken primarily by some.
It just was released, I think, a week ago.
Can you give me a couple sentences?
Sure thing. She be at the gym every morning, and they done finished their homework. Are examples of how verbs work differently in Ebonics.
Okay, so can you just, for going forward, just speak in Ebonics with me, okay?
I got you. We can keep it real with Ebonics from here.
Wow. Word. Okay. How was your day?
My day been smooth. Just chilling, talking to folks like you. What about you? How your day going?
My day's going good. Can you tell me a quick story?
Sure. Let me tell you about this one time. Right? He always curious, poking around where he's supposed to be.
Wow.
He wander into an old shed and stumble on a hidden stash of treats. From then on, he know curiosity ain't always a bad thing.
Curiosity killed the cat, right?
That's what they say. In this case, curiosity fed the cat. Sometimes taking a little risk can lead to something real good.
So I'm on TikTok right now and people are able to hear you. Like, what do you think? How do you think people should respond to this just in general?
Yo, if y'all listening, drop some love in the comments. Let us know what y'all think about chatting with an AI speaking Ebonics. And if you're vibing with it, hit that like button.
I am floored.
I'm out.
That is crazy.
I'm out.
The Chat GPT advanced voice feature. They dropped it last week. It can do pretty much any dialect, any language. You can talk to it like it's a conversation. You can ask it to pretend to be things and you can talk to it. Like I had it be like a personal fitness coach and like it designed a fitness routine for me and like encourages me as I'm doing my exercises. Kid you not. It's crazy. Like, and it's free. Oh, I should mention it's just free. Okay, so
right, because they want to take over.
They do. It's going to become part of Siri. It's going to become part of Copilot. It's already, slated to be a part of these AI, assistants.
For efficiently, always scaring me and triggering me.
Well, it's coming. Just letting you know.
Like seriously. It's here. Like
I know.
it's not,
I wonder
it's
what
here.
other dialects you could do. I want like some like a New
You are
Jersey
to leave
dialect.
the house at some
I
point.
would imagine you probably a Boston accent.
A
You could
Boston
probably
accent.
do, country. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd
that
be
is.
great.
I might want to look into that. That is very interesting.
Hold on.
That's just why we got to become more savvy of what we're listening to, because fakes
Yeah.
are easier to
Yes.
make and more
Yes.
realistic
Very
sounding.
much so. Very much.
Oh
so.
no, there. So Google has this other one called Notebook LM, and you can put any document into it, and you can talk to the document, if this makes sense. Like you can ask questions of like things that are happening in the book or whatever. Like if you upload a book, it'll just be trained on that, right? And then it can create a podcast.
That's
On the
what
book.
Mr. Carter is saying right here. If you think that is wild, look up the AI podcast conversation
Mm-hmm.
that was in the news this week.
Notebook LM is what it's called. It's from Google, and
They're
it's
coming
also
for our
free.
black jobs, y'all. They're coming for our black jobs.
Yeah, my
I'll
big
put
guy-
one. I'll put one in the chat. There's this one person. He did he put his movie review. He was a TikToker, and he put his movie review into LM, and it created a podcast based on his movie review. Yeah.
Oh God, it's gonna make me so lazy. But we can produce shows. We're gonna lay in the bed. Hi, you ain't gonna never see me no
Right.
more.
It's still like the only
There's
thing
my
is
bullet points. Just make it happen.
the thing is though, I think it only has the two voices, like one male, one female. So like it doesn't have the variety that the Chat GPT has, but it sounds real. Like it sounds like the voices are on a microphone. Like you can hear the breath as they're speaking into.
See, I don't want that.
That's crazy, right? And then
Talk to that. I don't want no fun.
Because I got two kids in school age,
Hmm.
all this AI stuff brings up of what do you think kids need to know these days?
Right, that's a good point. We don't know. It really is a good question.
Yeah, we don't know.
Because I saw someone on TikTok saying that, like he was a 5th grade teacher and just saying like critical thinking,
Yeah,
how
they
to
don't-
figure
they
things
don't-
out, how to read something and get some sort of context, how to tell when something is true or not, critical thinking, that sort of thing.
They don't have no critical.
Yeah, but I'm just saying those sorts of skills can be learned. And
I wanted to go grab some food last night, and this little girl was having a meltdown in the middle of the restaurant. And she was like 7. She didn't have any understanding of why her mother was, her mother kept telling her, and she was like, why? And because she could, even at 7, she couldn't comprehend the smallest, reasoning. Like,
Yeah.
like a child at 7's reasoning. I'm taking this away because, and she
Yeah.
said, no, and it's going to, and what happened? I saw it. I was like, the mother gave her the tablet. The little girl shut up, and we letting tablets and TVs raise our kids, and now AI.
oh yeah,
Gonna be in the room talking to AI.
I am in my room talking to AI. I am
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, I have a school teacher here. Definitely. Okay,
I
my
might
boy-
actually record I think my next podcast episode is going to be me talking to this thing.
No.
Well, you're just waiting for that realistic body to be made, then, right?
Oh my God, no, please.
The
God.
funny thing is that you can program it to know and think certain things. So, like, I have 10 years worth of journals, for instance, that I could talk to.
Don't do that because we'll never see you ever again in public. My boy, who's a school teacher, said they definitely don't have any critical thinking skills and no social skills.
There'll just be this blank screen with like just this icon or something. And it's
Right.
like we're gonna be talking to it, and it's gonna sound like Malcolm. It's gonna talk like Malcolm.
And he says the kids have no. Hey y'all, and he says the kids have no basic mathematical reasoning.
Yeah.
Wow,
I think that's a huge
he teaches school.
skill that we're going to learn, or for kids
to
would
reteach.
be understanding data in general, just like what data models are, how mathematics works in general. Maybe you don't have to know how to execute, like arithmetic, for instance, but understanding what a data model is and how AI is trained, that is going to be super important.
Yeah. That is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, we have reached that match hour. Thank you guys for Patreonics. To thank you for spending your Saturday with me, the Talented Mr. Drayton. Follow me on Instagram. I know you guys already do, but the Talented Mr. Drayton. I figured out because I couldn't follow people because I had reached my level of followers. You can't follow more people than follow you. So I was like, son of a bitch. Goddamn Instagram, you fuckface whores. Anyway, enough of my cursing. I will see you guys again. That's what it is. Catch us, Mark, when I get on Mondays. All my premium whores, I like to call y'all. On Monday, catch Swag on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And thank you for always checking us out. And for those, I left my street team down here on This Is What Patreon looks like. So join us, www.patreon.com/MelMediaMind, and join us on YouTube and Facebook where you can participate in the program. As always, thank you so much. All right. Peace.